Hi, and welcome back to another episode of That's the V, where we talk about fashion, fashion people, and opportunities in the creative industry. Today's topic is Chanel, and the Met Gala. So, two of the biggest fashion things, subjects happening in the moment. And well, Chanel, if you do not know, Matthieu Blazy, creative director, current designer of Chanel, debuted his cruise 2026-2027, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Paris time. I know I've talked about Matthieu Blazy's Chanel before, and I will not stop because he is a fashion genius. He does his research, he looks into the history of the brand, and he makes it his and modernizes it and still keeps the integrity of what Chanel is. And I love Matthieu Blazy so much because he goes deep into the roots of Gabrielle Chanel and has been doing so much research on her story and how she started and how he can tie the original story to the brand in the current time. So Chanel Cruise 2026-2027 very much embodied Gabrielle Chanel's first designs. And here are some fun facts I want to highlight. And yeah, like fun facts I saw throughout social media, throughout the show, and the whole collection that really were highlights to me. One of them being the CC icon being very present throughout the whole collection. And if you didn't know, Gabrielle Chanel was the first designer or brand to showcase that, to showcase their icon very present throughout her clothing and making the CC from Chanel very iconic. I mean, everybody knows what it is, and she was one of the first to do it. And before branding on clothing wasn't a thing, and she kind of really put a statement on it so everybody knew if you were wearing Chanel. So I know in his last collection, he did not highlight the Chanel emblem as much, the two CCs. And this one was definitely more vivid, more fun, and it was all over. There's a few pieces, look 23 in particular from the fashion show. If you look throughout, I know there's another look, but I can't remember which number. But it was not just the CC as like something like pressed on or something put on the fabric or the accessories. It was just actually part of the garment, and it was part of the sleeves on top throughout the whole body. It was a dress, white and black, very classic, with the CCs forming part of the dress rather than just like a print on or an emblem that was put on or sewed on. So I thought that was genius of him to include it in that way and bring the brand back to its roots. There is another very cool fun fact. Well, first of all, his how he highlighted or announced the show, and I'm going to show it right here. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'm showing it on my iPad. Um, but a mermaid, black and white mermaid, like very classic, but very like it's swimwear, it's cruise wear rather. And I think that was just such a beautiful, beautiful campaign. The reason of the mermaid or the mermaids being included to announce his cruise show was mainly inspired from a photo of a mural that was found in Biarritz. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but it's with two mermaids holding a boat, which inspired the last two looks of the cruise collection. He also really included like a lot of 1920s references, which is when Gabrielle Chanel started, of like the swimwear back then and how like the swim caps were a thing. So he like brought that back. A lot of the classic Chanel tweed designs were included. A lot of this info, I follow a lot of fashion pages, but a lot of what I'm talking about, I read it from a page I really love and admire and aspire to meet one day. But if you're not following it, you should. It's under StyleNotCom, and it's all just like very article driven and reading the stories and the interviews, and there's so much information on that page. Fashion information, of course. So if you're not following it, I highly recommend. If you're also into the like deep info of fashion research, history, all the things for all the shows, he does a great job highlighting and interviewing all the things. He always does such a good job with the models he chooses for his runways. Like I feel like it's models with lots of story and lots of things to say rather than just like pretty, beautiful faces. One of the models that really caught my attention, her name is Kaya Wilkins, and I think that's how you say it as well. But she apparently, I mean, she is a pregnant model, and she showcased a pregnancy look, therefore having like the youngest model on a runway. But I've also, it's not the first time I see a pregnant woman walk a runway. I know Victoria's Secret did it their past most recent show. I also saw it before that for a designer called Chuck Collins during New York Fashion Week. He actually highlighted a model who was pregnant, and it was maybe 2024, I believe. Might have been sooner, but the season after, he showcased the same model with her baby on the runway. So it was like her pregnant and then later with her baby, which was so beautiful. He is also a great, great designer on, I feel like, the more not so loud side of things. But if you haven't looked into him, he showcases in New York most of the time. Chuck Collins, great show. I've photographed it before, and I think he's also doing amazing things. But anyway, those are just a few fun facts from the Chanel show that really caught my attention. Love the history being attached to it. I know there's so much more, and like the details and the designs themselves, but these are just a few of my personal taste that I wanted to talk about. I'm also posting a like favorite look from the runway kind of thing on That's the V podcast Instagram. So you can see some of the looks there. But I mean, just watch the show on YouTube. It's beautiful. And the shows before, like I'm obsessed. And then now the Met Gala. I'm not gonna get too much into it because it hasn't happened yet. But for those that do not know, it's up and coming this Monday, first Monday in May, in this case, May 4th. The theme is costume design, and I'm very excited for this because, as an aspiring stylist, I take lots of pride on styling photo shoots, but also like commercials and hopefully like bigger movies one day, as I said in the past. And I think, you know, the theatrical costume design in theater or films is such an incredible craftsmanship, and I cannot wait to see what everyone is wearing. I'm so excited. Like, I really don't have like someone that I have my eye on. I know anyone that ends up wearing Schiaparelli is gonna look absolutely stunning. That's like what I am looking out for. But uh, I really loved El Mexico on Instagram, posted a lot of images about the upcoming Met Gala. So I will look into that if you want to get a little bit of the feel for the costume art theme for the Met Gala, which is actually called Fashion is Art, but it ties with the costume art craftsmanship. And I mean, it's things from the early 1920s till now and how it has evolved. And gosh, I'm so excited for that because I feel like it's tying my two favorite worlds together. So the world of art and fashion, and that's what Schiaparelli does. So that's why I'm really excited about that. But if you want to look into some inspiring looks, like look at this. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm showcasing some images out here. But go into the El Mexico Instagram. I feel like they have such a good social media team because I love their content. They're like really on top of things. So that's another really good fashion input recommendation. But other than that, those are like the main two things I wanted to talk about this on this episode. Truly excited about these fashion moments. I feel like right now it's a little slow in the fashion industry, although it's never slow, but compared to when it's fashion week in September throughout Paris and New York and Milan and all the fashion cities. I mean, designers are debuting and showcasing designs throughout the year, but those are the stronger, bigger months. Right now, it's more like independent, so it's, I think, such a great opportunity for designers because they get so much more attention, like the Matthieu Blazy show with Chanel. That's the V. That is today's tea from me to you. I hope, as always, you learned something new in the fashion industry today. And stay tuned for the next episodes with my next guests. And if you know of anyone in the fashion industry that you want to learn more from, that I can interview or look into interviewing, let me know. DM me on That's the V podcast. Make sure to follow, subscribe, like, show some love, all the things. And I just want to say thank you as always. Bye. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to follow at That's the V podcast on all platforms for more fashion content. And a big thank you to our sponsor, JAG Premier Advertising Agency. If you're looking to get on platforms like Hulu or Netflix, check out the link in the description.